the BlueSky.
All right, everyone. We got my favorite class right here. We're doing the Odyssey Isle. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get an idea. Now, this is very similar to, but not the same as the actual assignment. I gave this one flight 1975 Fort Knox to Tokyo. And we have demand data for the top 50 business class potential customers, and also partial demand data for the top 100 coach class potential customers. This is segments C1 through C50. Actually, it's this is customer segment 18, customer segment 10, and so forth. It's a representative sample of everybody. And so customer 34, for instance, is willing to pay either $634 for a coach class seat or $1,128 for a business class seat. That's what we have here. Now, this is a fairly linear relationship, although at the ends we get to see some funny things like customer 1 is willing to pay $5,000 for a business class seat, but only $700 for coach class. We're not going to question that. We just know that it's true. So, and the increments drop by irregular numbers until we kind of get into a linear equation through the middle part of it. Over here, customers C60 through C99, the data is missing. So we want to figure out what numbers belong there first. And if you look at this, you can see that there does seem to be a pattern that in order for us to make the price attractive to one more customer, what are we doing to the, what are we doing? How much are we lowering the price by?
$2.
$2 seems to be the right number. I agree. So then we pull that down all the way. And when we get to customer C99, what value should that be? Customer 99 should be
504.
504.
$2 more than 502, which is 504. So there, that's one thing you're going to need to do to figure out the pattern and fill in the missing information. And over here, we have some ideas about the fixed cost on the Centennial, which seats 100 coach class, and $22,000 in fixed cost for the Biz 50, which seats 50 business class. So the numbers in each, the fixed costs related to these airplanes are different in different scenarios. So pay careful attention to your scenario. But for this scenario, the flight 1975 Fort Knox to Tokyo, they incur $22,000 in fixed costs for the, no matter how many passengers they have. So we'll fill that part in. And for the fixed cost on the Centennial, it's $25,000 no matter how many passengers they have. So that's always, we got some of the easy things out of the way. Right here, it looks like the variable cost on the Centennial is $60 per person. And what we want to do is put an equation in that says equals $60 times however many passengers we have. So in this case, we'll use that list over here to get that value. And now that we have this, we can fill that in. And just to make sure that the Excel is doing things right, that we didn't make an error, we do some mental math here. We say, well, at 10 customers, it should be $600, and it is. And at 100 customers, it should be $6,000, right? 60 times 100 is 6,000. I don't do every one of them, but you just do a couple spot checks just to make sure that there wasn't some kind of error before you get further. Over here, it's going to be $100 times, so you put in the same value, you put in 100 times the quantity. 2 people would be $200 in variable costs, 3 people, 300 and so forth. Pretty easy to verify that that was done correctly. 50 people should be 50,000, and the the Excel was so helpful in filling this in all the way. And even though I shouldn't care, I'm filling that in. Okay. So now we want to calculate the profit on one or the other one. In order to do that, we have to figure out the revenue. Right now, revenue is 0 because we're not selling any. We're going to put this in as a formula. It equals to the price that we would charge. And this, so the Centennial is coach, so we're using the coach column, and we're multiplying that times the number of people that would be paying $700 if we charge $700. And we'll do that again. So you just click on the cell that you want to do it. You put in equals. You click in the price that we're thinking about charging, multiply times the number of people who would pay it, and that gives us our revenue. Once you have that formula in there once, you can double click and it auto fills it, which is very nice. Similar results with using sheets if that's what you're doing. And down here, we'll just do a little calculation, make sure 502 times 100 is 502 with 2 zeros after it. 50,200 is the revenue. And at this point, we know that we could then make this much revenue on this flight because the demand for coach class seats from Fort Knox to Tokyo is very robust. And since the revenue is still ascending, it's still getting larger and larger. We probably could have used an even bigger plane, but we don't have one at our disposal. So the profit possible here would be 52,200 minus the 25,000 fixed cost minus the 6,000 in variable cost. And the same would be true all the way down. So because we're popping it in this way, we're going to, this profit looks like it was calculated correctly. 25,060 minus 700 would be 24,360. Yes. So that's been done. And so, sorry about that, folks. Let me show you how we got that. So in that right there, if you were checking to see what that was, you look up here in the top part of the cell formula. Like in here, there's nothing and there's no formula. If you click here, the formula says, hey, Excel, take whatever's in H8 and subtract an I8 and subtract J8, and that'll give you the number I want you to put in that little cell. And the Excel does it. So you put in equals the revenue minus the fixed cost minus the variable cost. You can also, if you want to use parentheses to add the fixed and variable cost together first and make sure that it's ordering or through the order of operations, adding that first and then subtracting it. But either way, you get the same answer. So I did this because it's simpler. Once you put in the formula right, you double click on that little part, it auto fills it. And now you're looking for, there's not much ways to make any profit here. Well, no, okay, we're good. Look at that. Okay. So it turns out that the maximum profit is also at 100. So we're going to fill up the plane. We're going to charge 502. We're going to sell 100 seats, and we're going to use the Centennial. Unless it's more profitable to do the Biz 50, can we make more than $19,200? Let's find out. Similarly, we're going to do the total revenue here by taking the price in the business class and multiplying it times the number of tickets. There's only one person who paid $5,000. We're going to then subtract the fixed cost, subtract the variable cost, and that'll give us our profit, which has also been calculated like this. So now that we have that figured out, we're going to fill in the total revenue, which is multiplying these business class prices times the, we're saying, let's say if we wanted to get 10 people to fly this plane, we'd have to charge a price that was $3,006 or less. So this line is telling that if we charged $3,006 times 10, we'd get $3,006 $30,060. And you go, why did it come out as 30,058? Shouldn't it be 30,006? You're like, oh, it should. Especially if we're, it must be that this curve is using some sort of pennies that's not showing up here. So if necessary, we'll make a change here and change this value right here from what's being shown to a 3,006. And then that would change it to be accurate. Right? 10 times 3,006 would be 30,060 minus 22 minus 1,000 will give us our. So if we fill this in here, we can then come on down and see how much profit we can make on the plane. And it looks like the most profit we can make on the with the Biz 50 is in the 16,000 range. So and the best profit we can make on the Centennial is 19,000 in profit. So our memo that we write will say the words to that effect. We recommend that the Centennial 100 is used, that we charge, in this case, 502, that we will generate 50,000, we will sell 100 tickets, that will generate this much revenue, we'll incur that much fixed cost, that much variable cost, and we'll enjoy that much profit per flight. And that's what our memo would be. We would also, just to offset any kind of arguments, we'd say, we did analyze the Biz 50 for this flight, but maximum revenues on this are an inferior 16,000 per flight, and so was rejected at this time. Thank you very much. Where do I do the